Hello friends, welcome back to my video series on analysis of determinate structures. In this series of videos we are actually discussing on energy methods and energy principles to find deflection in determinate structures. So in the previous videos of this playlist I have already uploaded some 5 videos on the concept of energy methods and energy principles. We have briefly seen the virtual work principle and the Castigliano's theorem, both for the trusses and the beam structures. Now we shall apply all those concepts whatever we have learnt through some numerical examples. So I will take one first numerical example, a very simple numerical example on a truss, and the example goes like this. The cross-sectional area of each member of the truss shown in the figure is one cross-sectional area is there, and we have to determine the vertical displacement of joint C. Means I need to find what is the vertical displacement at this joint if a 4 kN force is applied to the truss at C. We are applying a 4 kN of external force at C in this direction, and I want to find what will be the vertical deflection of point C. Now this is we can easily say this is a determinate structure, and we can easily apply our virtual work principle. That is, this equation we can easily apply, which we have already derived. So this one is the vertical imaginary force which you are going to apply. This delta F is the value which we want, that is the vertical deflection at point C, and here it is summation of delta Fi is the force in each and every member of the truss because of application of the 1 kN point load at C. Okay, and Fi is the force in each and every member of the truss because of this 4 kN. Li is the length of each and every member. A is the cross-sectional area. I will give the cross-sectional area, and E is the Young's modulus. When we can apply this equation to this truss, we can easily find the unknown value of delta F. Okay, so now let us proceed. What I will do now, I will take this truss, okay, without this external load of 4 kN. First I will apply a load of 1 kN at point C in the vertical direction. Now please be attentive here. Why I am applying in the vertical direction, but the actual force is in the horizontal direction. So you should carefully see what he has asked. He has asked us to determine the vertical displacement of joint C. Since we want the vertical displacement at joint C, we need to apply the vertical force of 1 kN at joint C. If he had asked the horizontal deflection, I would have applied a horizontal 1 kN at joint C. So we have to first see where is the deflection and in which direction he has asked the deflection. So in the same direction we need to apply 1 kN. Now the question comes whether you should apply 1 kN in the downward direction or 1 kN in the upward direction, because both these forces will be in the vertical direction. It doesn't matter, you can apply in the vertical direction, or you can apply in the horizontal upward direction, or you can apply in the downward direction, but the final answer what you get at joint C will tell you whether you should have applied the force in the vertical direction, that is downward direction, or you should have applied the force in the upward direction. If you get a negative answer, means whichever direction you had applied is wrong, it should be in a correct way, but the value will remain same. Only the sign of the final answer will tell you in which direction you should have applied. Okay, now here what I will do, I will take this truss out without this 4 kN and I will try to apply 1 kN downward force. So let me draw that truss here. Okay, I have drawn the truss, the same truss, and I have applied 1 kN of vertical load at joint C, but I have neglected that external force of 4 kN. Now I can analyze this truss either by method of joints or method of sections to find the forces in each and every member of the truss. Now the method of joints proves out to be an efficient one. To proceed with the method of joints, the rule is you have to pick a joint where you should have maximum 2 unknown forces only, not more than 2. And if I see, I can start with either joint C or I can start with joint A. If you start with joint C, no need to calculate any reactions, because at joint C we have only 2 unknown forces. But if you want to start with joint A, you need to first find out this reaction. So this reaction I can easily write it as 0.5 kilonewtons. This also comes out to be 0.5 kilonewtons because there is a total downward load of 1 kilonewton. It goes equally into A and B supports. Of course, there will be one more horizontal reaction which will be always equal to 0 because we don't have any horizontal forces. Now if I start with joint A, let me start with joint A and draw the free body diagram of joint A. Okay, I have drawn the free body diagram of joint A with a 0.5 kilonewton. Now there are two members which are meeting at joint A, member AC and member AB. Now I need to assume some force in member AC and some force in member AB. So what I will do, force in member AB, let me assume a tensile force. That's why I'm making my arrow away from the joint. So I will call it as force in member AB, and force in member AC, let me assume it as a compressive force. Okay, let me assume that as a compressive force. That's why I'm making an arrow towards the joint. So I will call that as FAC, and this angle is 36.86. Now I can apply the equilibrium equations at joint A. So let me start with summation of Fx equal to 0. Sign convention will be all the forces in this direction as positive. So the FAC is an inclined one, so it will have the horizontal component like this. So I should write it as minus FAC cos of 36.86. We don't have any other horizontal forces at the support, but we have a horizontal force of FAB. So it is in the same direction as per our sign convention. I can write it as plus FAB, and no any other force is there in the x direction, so I should equate it to 0. So both are unknowns, so let me call this as equation 1. Now let me apply another equilibrium equation, summation of Fy equal to 0, and my sign convention is all the upward forces as positive. Now when I do that, 0.5 kilonewton is upwards, so I should write plus 0.5, and FAC, since it is inclined, it will also have an vertical force which will be downwards, so I should write minus. Why minus? Because it is opposite to my sign convention. Minus FAC sine of 36.86. No any other force is there in the vertical direction, equal to 0. So when I solve this, I'll get the value of FAC as 0.833 kilonewtons, but that too I am getting positive sign, 0.833 kilonewtons. So I'm getting positive in the positive force in the member AC. It means I had assumed compression. Since I'm getting positive, so it is under compression. Now when I substitute back the value of FAC in equation 1, I can get the value of FAB as FAB equal to, so I'll get the value of FAB as plus 0.667. Here also I'm getting FAB positive. It means I had assumed force in the member as tension, so it is tensile force. So this is how I can get the force in the member by using method of joints. So similarly I can take up joint B, but the force in the member AB is already known to me. I can easily find force in the member CB using these type of things. I will not go into that part. So now what I will do, I will make a table and summarize the forces in each and every member. So let me make that. Okay, now instead of making that table, what I will do, let me analyze this truss, that is actual truss with the 4 kilonewton of horizontal load. I have analyzed the truss with the 1 kilonewton of downward load at point C. Now let me analyze the truss, actual truss, with the actual force of 4 kilonewton. So when I do that, I will get the reactions as like this. So this reaction I will get it as downwards of 1.5 kilonewtons, and this I will get it as upwards of 1.5 kilonewtons. So, and of course this also I will get horizontal reaction of 4 kilonewtons. You can easily see, since this is 4 kilonewton, the horizontal reaction at this point should be opposite, and it should also be equal, that is of 4 kilonewton, because the system is in equilibrium. Okay, now once again the same procedure. I will take joint A and draw the free body diagram. Okay, I have drawn the free body diagram of joint A. Let me once again assume some forces. So once again here I will assume, let us say here, let me assume a tensile force and see what will happen. So I will call this as FAC, and here let me assume a compressive force FAB. Let us see what will happen. These are just assumptions, and we can, final answers will tell us whether assumptions are correct or not. Okay, now first let me apply summation of Fx equal to 0, and my sign convention is all the forces in this direction as positive. Okay, so FAC is inclined, so horizontal force will be like this. So it is FAC cos of 36.86, and this is minus 4, and this also is minus FAB equal to 0. So two unknowns are there. Let me call this as equation 1. So let me go for the second equilibrium equation. That is summation of Fy equal to 0, upward forces as positive. So this 1.5 should be minus 1.5, and this will have an upward component, so it should be plus FAC sine of 36.86. okay, and no any other force is there, so this I have considered and this I have considered, no any other force is there, so I will equate it to 0. So if I solve, I will get the value of FAC as, okay, I will get the value of FAC as plus 2.5. plus 2.5 kilonewtons. I'm getting plus, it means the assumed force in the member EC as tension is correct. Now if I substitute back the value of FAC in equation 1, I can get the value of FAB. So let me just calculate. Okay, I'm getting FAB as minus 2 kilonewtons. So it means our assumption of FAB as compression is wrong, and it is instead, it is of 2 kilonewton but tensile in nature. Similarly, I can take up joint B and find the forces find the force in the member BC. So now what I'll do, this is finding forces in the member by applying 1 kilonewton at joint C in the downward direction, and this calculation is finding the forces in the member for the actual force which is applied, without that 1 kilonewton, for the actual force which is applied. Now what I will do, I will try to summarize all the forces and put them in a form of a table so that I can apply all of them in this equation to get the vertical deflection at joint C. So let me just write that table here. Okay, now I have summarized all those values in this table. So this refers to member, and this delta Fi is the force in that member because of application of that 1 kilonewton force. Okay, you can see here, because of application of this 1 kilonewton, what are the forces in that member? They are listed here, that is delta Fi, and this Fi is the force in the member when we have applied the actual force of 4 kilonewton. Now here the minus sign indicates that the force is in under compression, and the plus indicates that the nature of that force is tension, and this Li is the length of each and every member. Now in this equation, what I have done, I have tried to calculate what is this product, that is delta Fi times Fi times Li. That product I have tried to calculate here, and I have made a summation of that. Now what I will do, I will try to use this equation, that is 1 into delta F. Let me just write that equation here. Okay, I have written that equation here. So this 1 into delta F, this is what we want. This is actually the vertical deflection at joint C, and this summation I have already calculated, that is summation of delta Fi times Li I have already calculated. Now the only thing is, what I need is AE, right? And the value of AE, which is given as, okay, these are the values of A and E which is given. A is 400 into 10 to minus 6 meter square, and E is the Young's modulus, which is 200 gigapascal. I can write it as 200 into 10 to 6 kilonewton per meter square. Now I need to substitute the values of A and E in this equation. So this equation comes out to be, this summation I have already calculated, which is 10.67, which is actually in kilonewton square into meter. Why kilonewton square is, this is also in terms of kilonewton, this is also in terms of kilonewton, and this Li is in terms of meter. So that's why it is kilonewton square meter divided by 400 into 10 raised to minus 6 multiplied by 200 into 10 raised to 6. So this is actually in terms of meter square, and this is in terms of kilonewton per meter square. Okay, so this meter square and this meter square will go, and will be having the value of delta F as 0.133 millimeters. So just let me write that, 133 millimeters. So this is delta F, that is actually vertical deflection at C. So friends, this is how we can calculate the vertical deflection at point C for this. So only thing what you need to remember here is, you need to have two times of analysis, one with the dummy load of 1 kilonewton and the other one with the actual loads on the truss. So once you do that, you have to make in a table format, and here we saw that the cross-sectional area was same for each and every member, and Young's modulus was also same for each and every member. Sometimes it may happen that the cross-sectional area usually changes with the member, but the Young's modulus may remain same. So in that point, at that point of time, so you also need to include one more term here, AI and EI, and you can calculate separately, make the summation, and final value will give you the final deflection at that point. Means you have to put this whole formula in the table itself, and you have to calculate that. We'll see such type of example also in the future. So friends, this is how we can calculate the vertical deflection using virtual work principle. So we'll solve some more examples in the next class. Till then, thank you, bye.